Limitless. And our team is excited to host tonight. Fabulous Dr. Plant from corporate. But before that, I would just like to introduce my associate, who I look at as an amazing visionary. And she has 11 years of experience in just private business and owning a gym. And believe me, I've trained with her. And she is that trainer that you love to hate. So she knows her stuff. Even more importantly, she knows her nutrition. She'll tell a little bit of maybe how she joined Isagenix. But tonight, I'm just so honored to have our one-star Golden Circle, one-star Crystal Executive, and a woman who sees Isagenix and is rocking Isagenix. Please welcome Miss Amy Brantner tonight, and she's going to have the pleasure of introducing and interviewing Dr. Plant. So thank you so much, Amy, for being a part tonight.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Carol. I really appreciate it. So as Carol said, I've been in this health and fitness industry for over 11 years now. I am very diligent in the nutrition that I put in my body. And it actually took over 2 years of one of my clients getting me to look at Isagenix. So I went to a science day and I finally gave it a chance. Once I saw the science, I said, okay, this stuff is amazing, and decided to start using it and then start with my clients. And then I saw the vision of it being my residual income, my retirement, which is why I started to do the business part of Isagenix. So I'm very gracious that she brought me to the event and that this is such an amazing product that I was willing to actually add it to my nutrition support. So I want to thank Dr. Plant for joining our weekly team call. We are very honored that you decided you would join us tonight. So a little bit about Dr. Plant. He joined us in Isagenix in May of 2019, and he is an accomplished, highly intellectual, and respected professional in the preventative health and nutritional sciences industry. As Chief Science Officer, Dr. Plant oversees the research and development, product design and development, product commercialization, and quality assurance of all Isagenix products. He is also chairman of Isagenix Scientific Advisory Board, a group of top medical and health professionals who lend their experience and expertise to ensure the integrity and effectiveness of Isagenix products. Dr. Plant attended the University of Utah and then was recruited into the biomedical doctoral program at Harvard Medical School. So prior to joining Isagenix, he served as Chief Operating Officer, formulator, and chairman of the Product Advisory Board of another direct selling company. And he believes the most exciting aspect of the direct selling industry is that it promotes health through friends and family, which is the greatest influence in doing so. A married father of 4, he enjoys mountain biking, playing racquetball, lifting weights, one of my favorites, and reading political sci-fi books. The legacy he would like to leave is to be the champion for education, health, and family. I've had the honor of seeing Dr. Plant in many events, and I'm very happy that he was able to join us tonight, and we're very thankful that you have joined us and greatly appreciate it, Dr. Plant. So,
well, thanks for having me.
Yay.
It sounds like somebody wrote that. Well, that was very fond of me. So it's like I write my own bio,
I think it's very deserving.
Even when I write my own bio, I don't make myself sound very attractive.
We always have to have someone else write it. Well, let's start off with our newest addition in the product line. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to check it out. So the Adaptogen Elixer, like this. I just got mine delivered today. So can you tell us a little bit about the results that you've seen thus far, such as patience or sleep or calmness?
Yeah. So this is a really cool product. Just because it impacts us in so many different ways. And I always tell everyone, if it impacts you so many ways, it really impacts you in no ways. But when we think about this, really what this is doing is it's targeting the way in which our body responds to stress. And stress has an impact in so many different areas of our lives. Everything from the way we sleep to our immune system. It impacts our ability to concentrate, It also impacts our ambition. When we're under a lot of stress, we're less ambitious. There's so many different aspects in our life that it impacts. So what we did is we did a clinical study with this, and in this clinical study, individuals took the product over the course of 4 weeks, and we measured them at 2 weeks and 4 weeks. First thing is we wanted to make sure it works, and so you measure what's called your sympathovagal ratio. That is a word that I hope nobody ever has to repeat, because I don't think it's repeatable. Sounds like something off of some Star Trek, but really what that's measuring is it's measuring your sympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system actually has a high frequency and a low frequency, and it's the ratio of that high frequency, low frequency that is a response of how your body stresses. And so you can measure it. Rather than just kind of saying, how stressed are you out today? That's a difficult question to ask. And if you ask my wife at any time during the day how stressed she is, she always goes, up to here, I'm up to here. I think that's the point. That's the point where we all are stressed out and we have to let everyone know we're here, right? But you can measure it and quantify it. And so we did this, and there was a drastic reduction of about 34% in that ratio, meaning people's bodies were less stressed. And that's great. But does that actually translate into everyday life? Does our life get better? Yes. And so we double clicked on that, and we looked at different areas, everything from your sleep. People would wear devices that would measure their sleep patterns, measure how much they'd wake through the night, everything of the sort, how their breathing rates, all of this. And they had a significant reduction in their sleep disturbances, meaning they slept deeper and better through the night, to the tune of 31%. You imagine if you have 31% better sleep, right? That people buy like heavy blankets and pillows and all sorts of stuff with an attempt to try to sleep better, when in actuality it's just, if you could help your body respond better to stress, it would have that impact. So that was great. We see a huge reduction in sleep disturbances. People were sleeping better, but it didn't stop there. We also were able to look at everything from people's ambition, people's patience that they have with other individuals. We looked at how people are able to concentrate. And we saw drastic improvement in all of these areas. In fact, a 50% increase in people's ambition, a 40% increase in abilities to concentrate throughout the day, right? And what happens is we all struggle with these things to some avenue or not. And we all address them individually, and we don't really look at the source of the challenge, which is stress. So what we end up doing is we end up over caffeinating throughout the day to help us have more energy, or to have the focus throughout the day. We find ourselves dealing with a lack of patience, probably in the wrong way, of yelling at our kids or whatever it might be, right? And so rather than kind of going through those avenues, it is great that you can look at stress. Now, why are we needing this? I always look at it as, why are you needing to supplement? And the reason that we need a supplement in today's environment is because we're usually in an environment that's not natural to the human body, right? That's why you supplement. The reason you supplement your nutrition is because we are in a food system that is not natural to the human body anymore. Everything is prepackaged and pre-assembled and comes with a, in between two buns. And so you're just absolutely in this not natural environment with your food. And so you have to supplement your nutrition. The same holds true with respect to the stressors in our life. You go back 2,000 years ago, the stressors that you'd have is a bear jumping out of the woods at you, and you'd have a huge response, and then you'd go back down to normal. We nowadays don't have that. We have just constant stressors. They may not be as big as a bear, but our body isn't able to detect the difference. And so it's like we are walking in woods with constant bears, whether it be the horns honking at us in traffic, whether it be, the ding of our phones, whether it be the emails that come to us, the deadlines, the children's test scores, you name it. We are just surrounded by metaphorical bears. And our body really doesn't know the difference between a bear jumping out of the woods or our kids screaming at us. And so because we can never have that downward response of that stress, our body is in an exceptionally unhealthy state with respect to responding to that stress, which is why we're sleeping poorer than we ever have before, which is why we are less ambitious as a society. This is why we're making poor food choices. This is why we're putting on visceral fat. You name it, that is the way in which our body is responding to us being constantly surrounded with stress. So to get to the point, you can tell I'm a middle child and I never relinquish the microphone. To get to the point, the Adaptogen Elixir utilizes adaptogens, which are botanicals that help your body respond better to the stress. Now, there's a lot of science behind this, which is not important for this conversation, but the science behind this distills down to the simple fact that it tells your body it's okay to come down from a heightened stress. And what that does is it allows your body to more effectively recover. You're sleeping better. In essence, your body realizes what it once thought was bears, it doesn't need to respond to like that anymore. And it helps us really live the life that we're meant to live, right? We're kind of all just sitting here like our boat has crashed in the middle of the ocean and we're just treading water. And when you're treading water in the middle of the ocean, you're not thinking about what to cook for dinner tomorrow. You're just cooking about what can I do to get my next breath. And when that's happening, well, and a child's hanging on you, you're not happy they're hanging on you. And when somebody's asking you what's for dinner tomorrow, you're thinking they're absolutely crazy for asking you what's for dinner tomorrow. You're just looking for your next breath. And, people are saying, well, why didn't you get up and vacuum or whatever it might be? And you're like, I'm just trying to breathe, right? What this is doing is it's providing you this life raft. And all of a sudden, the world seems to slow down a little bit more. You're able to articulate, you're able to concentrate, you're able to do these things. And it helps in so many different ways. So that's the Adaptogen Elixir. That is why, I wish it was the biggest launch. It was the second biggest launch. It's always hard to top the collagen elixir, right? And in this world, vanity rules all, but it was the second biggest launch by a far stretch. Huge, huge launch.
Yeah, so excited to try it. So I know many of you, our life's already that way, but we're also trying to add on creating our isogenics business along with the lifestyle that was already stressed. So I'm excited to add this to my regime. So adding this to the regime, I've watched some of your studies already, and I believe I got that we can take up to 2 elixirs a day. When is a good time to take it? Can you take it when you're taking your collagen? Should you take it separately, or does it need to be separated and spaced out just like our collagen does?
Yep. You can actually take them together. You can take them apart. I myself usually tell people, hey, look to take it at morning and at night, right? That way you can kind of spread the effect. We haven't looked specifically at the difference of looking at it, but I'd say morning and night is probably the best time to be taking them. People seem to respond better to the sleep when they take it closer to night.
Perfect. And speaking of that, I know some people have had issues if they take their ionics and then they decide to do some things and then they go to bed 2 hours later and now they can't sleep. Is that the same as with this?
Nope, you should be completely fine. And this is also an base of kombucha, so it's also a great way to help nourish the gut as well. A great kind of do it. And the simplicity behind this, a lot of people, hey, adaptogens and ionics. We also have adaptogens in B. We have adaptogen e-shots. There's adaptogens in cleanse. This isn't not designed to replace any of those products. Really what it's meant to be is a simple tool to help you grow your business. Just as collagen was a simple tool to where you open it up, drink it to look better, this is a simple tool that you open it up, drink it to feel better. And that is the simplistic nature behind this. And we're all dealing with something to where we're looking to feel better. We're looking to have a little bit more patience or energy or ambition throughout the day. We're looking to sleep better. And this helps get to the root of that. And just as the collagen gets to the root of helping us stimulate our own collagen production, this helps our body respond to those stress. And so it's a great, great avenue to build just in that simple manner.
Okay, wonderful. Another question that's been brought to me is, do either the collagen or the adaptogen elixir support or encourage weight loss, so that we can talk to our customers about who purchase like the 30-day system or the value pack of how this would benefit by adding it to it?
Yeah, so indirectly, if we look at the adaptogen elixir, does it support weight loss? Indirectly with respect to helping our body respond to stress, right? Stress necessarily won't have you gain weight, but what stress does is it makes those Oreo cookies seem that much more tempting, right? Stress also loves to tell the body, let's put the fat where the swimsuit doesn't cover, right? And so it's called that visceral fat right around the belly, that unhealthy. So the stress doesn't necessarily promote weight gain. It does tell you, jelly beans are a great drug to take right now to get us through this day, right? And so you're a little bit, your appetite's increased, but it also with visceral fat. So by helping do that, you can help curb that. The Ionics was looked at specifically more with respect to weight loss. So the 30-day system, the Ionics is great in that this is meant to be a standalone product to help individuals feel better in that area. But indirectly, yes, it can help with the weight loss as well.
Wonderful. Okay. Would you be able to comment about the ingredients at a high level? How does the company decide what product innovation to look at and what ingredients make it into our products?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different avenues when we look at the ingredients. Um, I always say from a scientific standpoint, you start from a theoretical. And so what we do is we peruse just an immense amount of literature out there. This literature comes from our own studies. We probably have some of the most in-depth studies with adaptogens, right? We brought it to the world, Jim did about 18 years ago, right? So we've done research on adaptogens with response to caffeine. That's why people don't have the crashes on the e-shots or the BIA like they do other stuff. We've done numerous studies with adaptogens, right? So we have tons of research on that. That's also an exceptionally amount of growing evidence in the public scientific community as well with respect to adaptogens. So we look at those. And what we did is we found this is, all right, we're looking for a single product to help individuals feel better, right? And that comes in many different ways. As I mentioned before, the ambition, the energy throughout the day, sleeping better. And so we looked at the adaptogens that target those specific areas. How can we help people sleep better, but also have more energy throughout the day? How can we help them have more ambition? For example, and to be more active? How can we help them be more patient? And we looked at adaptogens with respect to those individual components. And then obviously with that, you then do what is a clinical dose. So often in this industry, people love to put names on things, but they don't put clinical dosages, right? So I always call it the fairy dusting, right? It's it's the equivalent of saying, hey, you had a piece of carrot cake, congratulations on eating your vegetables, right? That's what the industry unfortunately is like. Not at Isogenics, right? We know if you're going to get your servings of vegetables, it's important to get the right amount in there. And that's what we've done. So it's an important part of the extracts, everything of sorts, and then putting it at the base of the kombucha, knowing that a reason a lot of times people also don't feel well boils down to that gut. And so we really looked at an elixir that can simply kind of paint with a broad paintbrush to help people feel better. And that's the premise behind it.
Love it. Is there a place for us to find some of these studies on the adaptogen elixir that we're able to point people to that want a little more science on it?
So they just interviewed me on a podcast. I wish I knew when that was going. I'm very much a disheveled professor, an absent-minded professor when it comes to this, and also Dr. Gumbrick, who is the head scientist here over the clinical studies. They also interviewed him on a podcast where they do this, and I'm sure he's publishing that. Where it's at, phew, you got me, right? All I do is I speak to these things. Somebody's going to say, hey, Josh, you did a great team call tonight, at 7 o'clock. Where can I find that? And I don't know. It's out there in the internet ethos. I have no idea where all this stuff lives.
Okay, well, at least we know it's out there. So now we'll have to find out where that's at.
Good luck. Good luck.
Wonderful. Okay, another question I had, someone said they heard that it takes a bit of time for someone who has not had probiotics to enjoy the adaptogen elixir, and it's been recommended to start with half an elixir a day at first.
Oh, I haven't heard that. I myself, everything that I've done has always been 1 or 2. So
okay.
It's a 1.5 ounce serving, right? And so anyone who can do a half and then have the self-control to put it away, they might be part gerbil because it is an exceptionally small shot. I just do that thing if we haven't been to college, we've at least experienced the party life. We can all do a 1.5 shot and call ourselves good.
Very true. Okay, so along with that, they also want to know thoughts on taking it along at the same time you're taking probiotics. Should you do that?
Completely fine. Completely fine to do that.
Okay. That is the questions that I have. I would love to open it up to those in the audience and honor Dr. Plant's time. We have about 10 minutes left of this call. Is there anyone that would like to ask their own questions of Dr. Plant?
I can't wait to hear Lauren's.
Yeah. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Lauren.
Hi, Dr. Plant. Hi, everybody. And Amy, great job. Great questions that you asked. I have pages full of notes. Dr. Plant, I wake up every day and I stare at these 3 bottles and I'm like, which one do I take first? Because usually it's the E-shot. Like, is there any, I was always the E-shot within a minute of waking up. Then I was the adaptogen. Then it was the, not the adaptogen. Then it was the collagen. And now it's like, so is there a method to my madness when I wake up? And I do have another question after that.
Yes, this is a really, really good question. People will ask a lot of times, how do I take this? When do I take it to make sure it works? Now, there's a very critical aspect that you have to do to make sure this works. It has to go into your mouth. That's about it. So when we get to the basics of when do I take it? How do I take it? As long as it's getting into the mouth, your body is a magic machine and it knows what to do the rest. Now, if it doesn't go into your mouth, that's a huge variable. So you're saying, which one do I do first? And you can actually mix them all together and bon appetit. So
Amen.
Yeah, you can, you know what?
Amen.
Spice up the life, just do it in that order. Play a little bit of like spin the bottle, see which one points to you first. It's absolutely fine. The body is a wonderful machine. And a lot of times, because we see such great benefits with these products, we always have this idea that they're drugs, right? Like, oh my goodness, like counter interactions, these types of things. We're dealing with what Mother Nature has. And I always look at it as, it's kind of like a casserole, right? My grandmother, she would just kind of feel like, oh, there's 17 random things in the fridge and make a beautiful casserole out of it. That tastes magical. And my taste buds would love it. And it's everything from like, mashed potatoes to, carrot shavings that seem to end up in these casseroles. And the body does a great job of pulling the vitamin A out of the carrots and the potassium out of the bananas or whatever it might have been that with it. And your body does a great job of pulling it all out there. You should be fine taking it in.
You just made me so happy because now it's going to be my E-shot, then it's going to be my Elixir, and then my collagen, and then it's going to be my adaptogen. So thank you for that. Like, I'm so excited.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I've been stressed about that. And I do have one final question, Doctor.
Well, if you've been stressed about that, I would maybe start with the adaptogen Elixir.
Okay.
Calm that down a little bit, and then the rest should be easier.
Okay. Well, I don't have it. Like, you can't like, it's literally, I roll out of bed and I have that little mini fridge next to my bed. And then finally, so you know how our collagen elixir, it compounds in the body over time.
Yeah.
Does the adaptogenic elixir does our body respond the same way to the adaptogen elixir? Does it compound over time?
People can begin to feel the benefits of adaptogen elixir sooner. It's hard for me to answer this because we actually just looked at points 2 weeks and 4 weeks. But theoretically, you should be able to feel it sooner, though I can't scientifically say that because our first time point was after 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. Does anybody else have any questions for
I saw some lady raising her hand.
Oh, is that Amy Gilbert?
Amy Gilbert was raising her hand.
Oh, Amy.
Yes.
Right, Amy, we're raising your hand.
Hi. So I have a customer here and she wants to know because she doesn't like vegetables at all. And would it be okay for her to substitute her veggies with our greens powder? What are your thoughts on that?
100% yes. And that was a big reason behind the formulations as well. It actually counts by the stuff that we put in there, the weights, everything, as 2 servings of vegetables. And so absolutely, you can use that to substitute your vegetables. A great way to do it. Contains all the polyphenols, the antioxidants, the phyto compounds that you find in your vegetables. A great way to do it.
Oh, that's awesome. And on that note too, with the new greens formula, what's the biggest difference between the new one that was just released compared to
the new one that was released just a few years ago?
Yeah.
The biggest thing is the one before this was hard to sustain with a growing company. It's great for an isogenic size, but the problem is as it grows, it's going to be exceptionally hard to continue to source those vegetables and keep with the growing. And so just as we have no compromise to quality, a big aspect is that it's also to make sure that we're never in a conundrum to where that compromise has to come into question. We never want to compromise, but we also want to avoid those challenges that do arise. And so having the foresight of isogenics being multi-billion dollars, we really wanted to change that formula that allowed it to scale accordingly.
Okay, that makes sense. Awesome. Thank you.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
I hear somebody.
Vivian.
I don't know if this
Okay.
is coming from heavens or where, but I'll do my best to answer. Oh, there you are, Vivian.
My name's Vivian. Hi, I have two questions. One, I know it says 18 and up for the Adaptogen Elixir, but is there, like, would you give it to your kids? I don't know if you can answer that or not.
Way of trying to say, is there exceptions? I have given it to my kids. I cannot make that recommendation though. I do believe the reason that we put the 18 plus is largely due to insurance reasons of the, products that we have designed, our insurance covers adults only. I don't know the legalities of it.
Okay.
I gave it to my kids.
Looking at the ingredients, it looks fine to me for my child, so I'll make that decision. And then the other thing, are you reformulating a kid's vitamin?
I can't. Look at you and your ways you ask things. Then I feel like I just feel like there's all of a sudden one of those like police lights on me, and I'm being like interrogated. You never read me my Miranda rights. I am not answering that, but we are working very hard on making sure that there's nutrients that can support the whole family.
Okay, thank you.
Can you tell she's a practitioner?
Yeah, I know how to get to the root of
And
things,
a mother.
So. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
it
you.
looks like we have one hand up. Danielle Lacasella, would you like to unmute and ask your question? And then we have about 3 minutes left, so we'll try and wrap it up.
I just want to know, because you said that the new Adaptogen Elixir is a tool to feel better, but I'd like to really hear a difference and what is different in it from the Ionics. Like if I'm having a stressful day or my mom's having a stressful day, I'll tell her, you need to make sure you're getting your Ionics, take an extra dose of it. So to me, that has always been for stress. How is this that much different? And does it, I know you said it doesn't replace it, but is it basically going to do the same thing, or is it really that much different?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different things that are aspect from it. One is there's fewer types of adaptogens in the Adaptogen Elixir. But there's much more of those adaptogens, right? Significantly more adaptogens in the Adaptogen Elixir than there is in Ionics. Additionally, in the base of kombucha, as well as the type of adaptogens that were used, it was meant to kind of deliver this targeted approach of helping us deal with stress independently of other things. Now, that's not to say Ionics doesn't. Ionics absolutely does. Ionics helps with stress. But Ionics was largely formulated with respect to helping individuals reach their weight loss goals in that weight loss system, knowing that adaptogens are a key component with that. And so those were largely done with a primary focus on helping individuals reach their weight loss goals. And then kind of a secondary effect would be helping individuals respond to stress. The primary effect of this is simply stress, and that's the way we looked at it. And so everything from it being a liquid format to allow for quicker absorption, to the type of extracts that are used, to even the packaging to where it's not a stressful situation, and the taste, which scores much higher than the Ionics, right? Allows for that much more of a stressless response and a stressless experience for individuals to embrace it.
Okay, thank you very much.
And to add to that, I was wondering if the new adaptogen that we have highlighted, the astragalus, is that how you pronounce it? Is that something that you feel is making it a more potent stress?
Yeah, that's going to be part of it, but really it kind of boils down to the dosages of the ones that we used as well.
And the combination?
Correct.
Got it. Okay,
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead, Trisha.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Dr. Plant, for doing this. But my question is about the super mix.
Oh,
Okay, I know it's not has to do with this, but I'm just dying to know. So I've been on Isogenics for 10 years, taken all their stuff. But I would say with that particular item or product, it seems like if you do what you're supposed to, you take it on an empty stomach, and it gives me this very good sense of well-being, I would say, in my head, just from taking that. And then so I replaced my greens with that. Is that okay?
Completely fine to do that, completely fine. And so the basis behind it is Greens gives you a diverse background of numerous types of vegetables and gives you the ingredients. What the super mix is it's using actually a tree. And it's giving the different parts of that tree, the leaves, the seeds, and the fruit of the moringa oleifera tree to give you the nutrients and the unique phytocompounds that come with that. And so absolutely okay to replace that. No worries.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Well, thank you everyone for your questions. So I have one final question to close this out, Dr. Plant, is what are you most excited about for Isogenics in the next year?
Yeah, in the next year. So I am a big believer. I am a huge believer that the greatest opportunity that we have to improve the health and wellness of the masses is to make it convenient and easy to be healthy. Right? McDonald's doesn't sell billions and billions of dollars of hamburgers every year because they're the best tasting hamburger or because they're the most nutritious meal. They sell billions and billions of dollars because it's convenient and easy. And if we can find a way to make it even easier to be healthier, even easier to consume the nutrition, and even a pleasant experience to do so, it will allow us to propel that much faster, right? The whole premise behind Isogenics is that healthy shouldn't be hard. And when we can embrace that aspect of it and really kind of give the opportunity for people to realize that healthy should be fun, healthy shouldn't be hard, and that we can really do this, it gives us the opportunity to see drastic changes in people in a short amount of time to where it's not a chore to be healthy. Even though we've drastically lowered that barrier, we can improve that a little bit more. And so I'm really excited over the next little bit to where we can help people even easier to transform the way in which they eat better, feel better, and look better. And we kind of see that right now, right? Like how easy is it to help people look better? Collagen Elixir. How easy is it to help people feel better? Adaptogen Elixir. And so there's some great things here to where it's going to allow those individuals that are growing this by building a business to really amplify their ability and their network drastically by removing a lot of that explanations that are needed.
That is actually very exciting. So I was already excited to move to shakes with all the years I've done meal prepping. So making shakes already made it much easier to be healthier. So I'm excited for it to become even easier for everyone. Before we close out, Carol, do you have anything you want to add at the end here?
First of all, I want to thank Dr. Plant. We so appreciate that you're willing to take the time right after our celebration. I want to really thank our leader, Amy Brandner. She's amazing, and she absolutely is going to be going to the top. And I want to welcome you all to come to Spokane, Washington. And that Super Saturday will be October 23rd. And yes, Dr. Plant will probably be there. We'll confirm that with you, Dr. Plant, but we always believe in going for the gold here. So again, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you everybody for participating, and go out and buy and sell and drink some Elixir.
Wonderful. So happy to be here. Joy. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us from all over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Amy, is that your little?
Yeah.
I love it.